Morning all. The great thing about wild camping, especially wild camping, when you turn off the peages, you get to stay in your pick of breathtaking location. Oh my God! That's an immaculate E-type Jag. There's no way the angle of that camera picked it up. Wow! 7:30 in the morning, Saturday morning. I rode until 10:30 last night. I got carried away yesterday. First of all, at the start of the day, saying that peages were the most amazing thing because it's like staying in campsites. And then I realised, thinking back, 6 hours after that, I was saying I'll never use a peage again. So most of the things that come out of my mouth are complete nonsense with my contradictions. There's a happy medium somewhere. It does take way, way longer covering any kind of meaningful ground. But the benefits, I stick by, like I said yesterday, the scenery is amazing and you don't need to pay those high charges. But there's a time and a place for both. I completely understand that. I've stayed on what looks like an abandoned dismantled industrial estate, and I think there's a gentleman cleaning something behind me. So I've got up nice and early. I've got this much water left. So I can't clean my teeth or eat or anything like that. There were also residents walking past. So this isn't a place to have a nice relaxing morning, moving at snail's pace like I usually do. So I'm going to get out of here. I didn't quite make it to Paris. I wanted to get almost level with Paris yesterday. Didn't quite happen. I am 2 or maybe 100 and, if I remember, 190 miles from Calais and 5 hours, 20 minutes to go. The scenery yesterday was really, really spectacular. I hope the videos show it because in so much of France, because France is relatively speaking massive, with the same population as the UK, which is insane when you think how much bigger it is. The roads are empty, there's no one there, and the villages are empty, there's no one there too. It's just, it goes on and on and on. It's colossal. But going through the villages, seeing huge, incredible looking French chateaux, little churches around, it was amazing. And that feeling of not having to stop and pay peages, probably 10 euros an hour, something like that. That was a really nice feeling. I could just get back to enjoying the riding. So that was really good as well. So let's pack up, hit the road. When I see a little, when I ride past a little, I'll stop, get some water, and then make my breakfast. Maybe I'll buy a pastry as well. The weather. Look at the weather. I cannot believe how lucky I've been. Apart from the Sardinia, I haven't had one drop of rain in the daytime. Not one drop. I've now covered 2,000. I've covered 2,200 miles. And I haven't had one drop of rain apart from Sardinia. I cannot get my head around that. Every single day has been perfect blue sky. I've had way worse weather in Europe, especially Northern Europe, in July and August. And it's early April. think Europe must be one of the very, very best places for road tripping, just because you can visit so many different countries, even within the space of a day, and every country has its own traditions, its own kinds of food, its own cultures. Similar, but different. For example, when I'm in Italy, I'll have pizza and focaccia. And when I'm in France, I'll have baguettes and croissants. It makes the road trip so interesting, being able to see all of these different amazing cultures. It's magic. So over there is Paris. In fact, I've gone just past the very centre of Paris. So I'm pushing on now towards the northern part. But because I've got toll roads off, I am kind of flirting with the edges of the city. And funnily enough, I didn't realise this, just over there in that direction, I think it must be about 10 miles away or something like that, is Disneyland Paris. So I think I'm going right the way through the middle of Paris and Disneyland Paris. Loving every second of it. I really need to get something to clean my helmet, because you can see there, it is covered, especially from last night when the sun set in, I must have murdered about 200 insects there, and visibility is quite hard. It's just I can't find anything to be able to clean it successfully. I almost always make the mistake of missing out northern France. I just put toll roads on, blast through northern France to get somewhere else. It's a massive mistake. Northern France it's stunning. There are so many beautiful little towns and villages with chateaux dotted along. I've been missing out massively so, and you get the whole place to yourself. There's no one else here. You've just got your own beautiful network of roads and villages and chateaux around. This one here I had to pull over. I mean, there are so many of them, I could take my pick of which one to show you. But I love this one here, hidden behind these trees. This would be the original gate, the original entrance of the chateau. But I guess as the land's been broken up, it's lost the use of this grand entrance that it would have once had. But you can still see very clearly here the line of trees that would have been planted originally when the chateau was made, snaking round from right to left, leading up to the chateau. And that's where the horse and cart and the extremely well-to-do owners of this chateau would have come in here. You can imagine 200 years ago, horse and cart coming in here, someone steering the horse and cart, and then probably the two owners sitting in the back. It's overgrown now, but it's so clear to see. And just behind that, right next to the chateau, there's a little church. And behind that, again, there's a tiny village/hamlet. Can't have more than about 20 buildings in it, but definitely front and centre. The chateau, I guess, would have employed a lot of people in this village, and maybe even had exclusive use of that church behind it.
you join me a few days on. After, I was about to say after recovering, but honestly, I didn't really need recovering. I got back home, and about 2 days afterwards, honestly, I had such a good time. And I feel like I got my camping and traveling down to such a perfect point that really suits me that I probably could have headed off a couple of days later. I felt fresh the next morning. That's how really relaxed it was. It sounds like it should have been a fairly brutal trip, you know, wild camping, etc., etc. But it was so easy. By the end, you know, I told you before, Monica was saying, "Oh, get a hotel room." I didn't need it. I was so happy in the tent. I'd go to bed at about 11 p.m. Honestly, sometimes I'd be waking up at about 8 a.m. I was getting about 9 hours sleep, so I woke up fresh as a daisy. A couple of bits I learned. Remember, getting all the way down there cost about £229. In essence, exactly the same price to get back with the mistakes I made. That was about, I think it was about £50 in tolls. But the tolls ended up being, when I spent 5 hours on the toll roads, around about €10 an hour on the toll roads. That's when I had my free count decided to stop using the toll roads. So that I completely stopped, but I spent that extra £40 to £50 on tolls on the way back. The other thing I spent extra, because I don't like planning anything in advance, I didn't book my ferry from Calais to Dover. And that meant that instead of paying £25 on the way out from Dover to Calais, from England to France, I paid £80. That is really a stupidly large amount. You have to book the day before for the Dover ferry. Don't leave it to the last day because you're going to pay double. Whereas you don't have to do that when you're doing this Sardinia ferry. It doesn't work in that way. Another thing to mention, Critère stickers. These are the emission stickers for Switzerland and the low emission stickers for France and other European countries that's coming in. A lot of people are asking me, what did you do with those? How did you get these stickers in time to put on your bike? And the truth is I didn't even know they existed properly until someone mentioned it. So for Switzerland, I had no vignette or Critère sticker. For France, nowhere. The problem with these stickers is it takes away a bit of the spontaneity of things. If before a trip, you have to get these ridiculous Critère stickers for every single country and every town that you think you may go to, it just means that you can't be spontaneous and think, I'm going to wake up and I fancy going here or there. So I didn't have any of them. I don't know if I needed them, but certainly I never had any issues at all. And similarly with wild camping, a lot of people said, wild camping in Sardinia, you're going to get in trouble. People do not allow it. But I was literally wild camping in Sardinia, and the Carabinieri pulled past me on both evenings of wild camping, and both times they just nodded at me. So I think so long as you're respectful and you keep yourself to yourself and you keep it clean, maybe it's illegal, but certainly they don't care, and I can say that 100% firsthand. The Italian police do not care about it. I was cruising along through France, and the thought hit me that a year ago this bike should have been written off. It should have been sold for spares. It should have been in the scrapyard. And if it weren't for Joe and Emily from the works taking this bike on that was so unreliable by the end, I was done with it. I couldn't face it breaking down on the side of the road again. I was starting to look for new bikes until Joe got in touch and he said, Freddie, don't write that Bonneville off just yet. Let's see if we can fix it and save a bike that was a certainty for the scrapyard and give it a new lease of life. And that is exactly what happened. Near enough 1 year ago, I got this bike at the DGR, the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride. It was unveiled to me by Joe and Emily, and I can't believe that the Bonneville is now genuinely better than ever. And I've had so many experiences with it now. I know that regardless, whatever happens to it, however expensive a bill may be in the future, 100% this bike is a keeper. I will always make sure it stays on the road, and I will fix it regardless of cost. I love it that much. Just the feeling that it should be dead, and now I've had this amazing adventure on it. It's so special. So I'll wrap it up there. Unforgettable trip. I now know exactly how I like to travel, and that's wingman of the road on the back, just not knowing where I'm going to spend the night. It's that amazing feeling of freedom. So I really hope all of you enjoyed the trip. Apologies for waffling on at the end like this to wrap it up, but I can't tell you how amazing a trip I had. Thank you all for tuning in and all of the kind comments. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one, again, from right here, back in England.
The summer came for us and showed us what we lost. And I'm writing to myself about the things you said, about the things you said. The slowness creeps towards my feet within the light that morning brings to clean the remnants of a dream, shadows you cannot see. I brush aside. You're on my mind is weak, the lows are deep. I fall into the refuge that is sleep. There's nothing in my view but images of you 1,000 times. The summer came for us and showed us what we lost. I'm writing to myself about the things you said, about the things you said.
Good morning.
Love is nothing but an echo, a memory you can't deny. Life is nothing but a vision, a play without a stage.